Welcome everyone. Today we're going to be diving deep into everything you need to know about BDSM. Whether you're curious, new to the scene, or just looking for more information, this video will cover it all. From the core principles of BDSM, safety tips, or to how it works in relationships, we're going to explore the philosophy, psychology, and even the tools involved in BDSM practices. So stick around, it's going to be an informative and fascinating journey into this often misunderstood world. Let's start by defining BDSM. BDSM stands for bondage, discipline, dominance, submission, sadism, and masochism. It includes a wide variety of activities and practices that focus on power exchange, control, and sometimes even pain, but always based on mutual consent. BDSM often faces stigma and misunderstanding in mainstream society. Pop culture portrayals like 50 Shades of Grey have popularized BDSM, but they often get it wrong, leading to stereotypes and misconceptions. Many people still associate BDSM with shame, abuse, or mental illness, even though it's a consensual practice between adults. Unfortunately, this can lead to people feeling isolated or ashamed of their desires. In the feminist world, there's an ongoing debate about how BDSM fits into feminist ideals. Some argue that it's empowering and allowing people to explore their desires freely, but others worry about reinforcing harmful gender stereotypes. At the end of the day, BDSM is about choice and consent, which are important feminist values. In some countries, certain BDSM activities might exist in a legal gray area, especially when it comes to consent laws around physical harm. So, it's essential to be aware of local laws to ensure safety and legality. Despite these challenges, BDSM has become more visible in recent years, with growing communities of people who are proudly embracing their kinks and fetishes. Now let's talk about the philosophy and psychology aspects of BDSM. BDSM isn't just about what happens physically, but it's a mental and emotional game. One of the biggest draws for people is the exchange of power. Some love the feeling of surrendering control as a submissive, while others feel empowered in the role of the dominant. In all of the ways, trust is the cornerstone here. You're giving someone else control or taking it from them in ways that can make both partners feel vulnerable. And it's this vulnerability that allows for deep emotional connections to form between partners. Fantasy and play is also a way that let people to explore fantasies or often do things that you don't experience in your everyday lives, like role-playing, restraint, or even giving or receiving pain in a controlled and consensual way. This type of exploration can offer a huge emotional release, and it's a chance to step out of your everyday role and express something deeper. There are three main parts of BDSM. 1. Bondage and discipline. Bondage is about restraint, like being tied up, handcuffed, or restricted in some way. Discipline usually involves setting rules and consequences for breaking them, which adds an element of control. 2. Domination and submission. This is the power exchange part. One person is in control and the other follows. Actually, it's often what attracts people to BDSM in the first place, and it doesn't have to be physical, it can be entirely mental. 3. Sadism and masochism. This is about enjoying the giving or receiving of pain, but don't let that scare you. It can range from light spanking to more intense sensations, depending on your comfort level. The important thing to remember is that BDSM is a spectrum. You can explore these elements in light or intense ways. It's all about what works for you and your partner. BDSM practices vary widely depending on how far you want to go. Soft BDSM is where many people start. It involves mild role-playing, light teasing, and less intense sensations. For example, using blindfolds, handcuffs, or some playful spanking. Hard BDSM involves more extreme forms of play, like more restrictive bondage, heavier impact, and intense power exchange scenes. And the last one is fetishism. This is where BDSM often intersects with fetishes, like foot fetishes or leather fetishes. Some people have particular objects or acts they're deeply attracted to. And again, the key here is that there is no right or wrong level of intensity. In all levels, both partners must feel comfortable and consenting. So now, let's talk about some of the different BDSM activities you can try. Whether you're into light teasing or more intense sensations, there's something for everyone. Bondage. This involves using tools like ropes, handcuffs, or restraints to limit your partner's movement. It can be as simple as tying your partner's hands behind their back or as advanced as full-body rope suspension. Discipline and punishment. This involves setting rules and consequences. When a submissive partner breaks a rule, they might receive playful punishments like spanking or verbal commands. Impact play. This is all about giving and receiving sensation using tools like floggers, whips, or paddles. Impact play ranges from gentle taps to more intense strikes, depending on what you and your partner are comfortable with. Sensory play. Sensory play includes both sensory deprivations, like using blindfolds or gags, and sensory stimulation, using feather ticklers, ice cubes, or vibrating toys. Limiting or enhancing your senses can heighten the overall experience. And the last type of BDSM is role-playing. In role-play, you and your partner can step into different characters or scenarios, whether it's a strict teacher and misbehaving student, or master-slave dynamics. Role-play lets you bring fantasy to life in a safe, consensual way. BDSM is all about consensual exploration, and safety should be the foundation of everything you do. Safe, sane, and consensual, or in shortened, SSC, is a guiding principle in BDSM. Everything you do should be safe, mentally sound, and agreed upon by all partners. In this part, the safe words are the key. Before you begin, agree on a safe word. A word that, when said, immediately stops the scene. It's often something simple like red to stop and yellow to slow down and green, which means everything is fine. Always make sure you understand the risks of any activity. If you're doing bondage, avoid tying too tightly or cutting off circulation. For impact play, avoid striking sensitive areas like the spine or kidneys. Emotional safety. BDSM can be emotionally intense, so it's important to check in with your partner both before and after a scene. Aftercare is key, since this is the time after a scene where both partners relax, talk, and emotionally reconnect. Remember, BDSM should always be about trust and mutual pleasure, so clear communication is essential. Now, are you ready to start exploring BDSM? Here are some tips for beginners. First, start slow. It's best to begin with lighter activities, things like light bondage or role play, before moving into more intense forms of play. Communication is key. Have an open discussion with your partner about your interests, desires, and boundaries. Always discuss what you're curious about and what's off limits. Find a like-minded partner. If your partner is new to BDSM, start slow together. If you're single, there are plenty of BDSM communities, both online and in person, where you can meet like-minded individuals. Set boundaries. This includes hard limits, for example things you never want to do, and soft limits, or things you might explore later. Don't forget about scene planning. It is very important to talk before a scene about what you want to happen, how long it will last, and what aftercare you'll need. BDSM is about exploration. So give yourself permission to go at your own pace. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the world of BDSM. Remember, every relationship is unique, and the foundation of a healthy BDSM dynamic is open communication, consent, and respect. If you are eager to learn more, don't forget to check out our in-depth articles on BDSM on our website, where we explore the psychology, consent, and a variety of activities in greater detail. If you found this video helpful, give it a like and share with others who might benefit, and subscribe for more content on relationships, intimacy, and personal growth. Also check the links in the description for additional resources and articles to continue your BDSM education. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and keep exploring what brings you joy.